We'll start our class.
Sir, your voice is
Is it visible?
no, sir. Your voice is low.
Oh, okay, I will 1 minute. I will off the fan. Let's see. Just 1 minute. 1 minute. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is it okay? Okay. Now, just is it visible? This screen share.
Yes,
share?
sir.
No?
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Just okay.
Okay, person, hairstyle, restoration, using hair accessories. Let's dive into some of these ideas.
Okay. Then what? Is it visible? Screen sharing?
Yes, sir.
1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Just technically, one thing happened here. Okay. Okay. Last class, is it visible? Share screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, presentation is visible.
Okay, right. Last time we had an introduction for the 5th chapter and Islam, women in Islam. Islam and Christianity, both religions are connected to Abrahamic religions. So we had a introduction. We had a introduction in the previous class. Now we are going to have some of the important aspects. In our discussion. Okay. Historical context of women in Islam. First, we need to just understand how women's status we can see in Islam, religion of Islam. So, before that, before we are going to see women issues in Islam, we need to have a brief understanding about pre-Islamic Arabia context. Pre-Islamic Arabia context. Friends, 1 minute. Somebody's phone is not muted and it is a kind of disturbance. Okay. So, before going to see women's status in Islam, we need to have a brief understanding about pre-Islamic Arabia. Pre-Islamic Arabia, that means Islam was born in Arabia Peninsula. Islam was born in Arabia Peninsula. So, before Islam emerged in the Arab land, what was the condition? What was the condition? We are going to see that aspect. The history of pre-Islamic Arabia is very difficult to say.
Brother Augustine is speaking.
Okay, Agustina, just let me check.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And the history of pre-Islamic Arabia is very difficult to trace. If you want to understand Arabia's context before the birth of Islam, it is very difficult. But we have some sources. Through that sources, some scholars analyzed pre-Arabia, pre-Islamic Arabia context. Through that context, we can trace what the pre-Islamic Arabia is all about. Early Arabic poetry sources such as Jahiliya and Mulakat. These are the two important Arabic poetic literature. These literatures are providing a kind of information concerning pre-Islamic Arabia. Pre-Islamic means before emerging Islam or before the birth of Islam. What was the main condition in Arab land? That was the idea. That was the main idea. Here we are going to see. So two important poetic literature available, which gives a kind of information concerning pre-Islamic Arabia. So what happened? Jahiliya, one poetic source. Mulakat, one poetic source. These sources were found by archaeologists, and through these sources, historians, scholars, they just analyzed the things and they brought some important aspects. Jahiliya, Mulakat were provided some important information such as culture and traditions concerning that particular period. So these two poetic narratives are providing to understand the context and culture before the Islam, how the Arab was influenced by culture and traditions. By using above sources, scholars have brought some unique information through their analysis. So these poetic literatures were primary sources to understand pre-Islamic Arabia. So Jahiliya, these poetic narratives, Mulakat, these poetic narratives, they have given some important information concerning culture and tradition. Scholars studied and used these sources and they brought some ideas about pre-Islamic Arabia. That means Arabian land before the Islam. Archaeological findings, that means some of the archaeological findings also giving some important evidences to understand pre-Arabia, pre-Islamic Arabia. Sites like Madain Saleh, it is a site and with its tomb. Madain Saleh, it is a region, it is an important place, and this place comprises with many tombs, different tombs. These tombs also are providing important information concerning pre-Islamic Arabia. Rock inscriptions also are available. Rock inscriptions means some of the designs, some of the important art which was carved on the rocks. Rock inscriptions also providing some sources. Again, some structures also providing some important sources to understand pre-Islamic Arabian context. All these sources offer tangible evidence of religious beliefs, burial practices, and social organizations. That means when we are going to understand pre-Islamic Arabia, some sources are available because of these sources. Through these sources, scholars analyzed these sources and they brought how the pre-Islamic Arabia was influenced through culture and all. Some of the important rituals when we see through that context is burial practices, how they used to bury the dead bodies. There is a kind of strategy, there is a kind of belief. They used to practice when they bury the dead body or the corpse. So because of these elements, they came to know that pre-Islamic Arabia was influenced by different cultures and traditions. When we come to the historians, Herodotus was very popular in ancient Arab world. He was a historian and he contributed something to the history, Islamic history. These narratives, these writings, providing important sources. Herodotus was very popular in Arab world. His writings on history was valuable resource for pre-Islamic Arabia. Anybody want to understand what was the condition of Arab land before the birth of Islam? Herodotus writings providing important sources. Through his sources, we can understand pre-Islamic Arabia and its context. Coming to the another important dimension, according to Herodotus, Arabians as nomadic people living in the deserts. Nomadic people means who are the nomadic people? Any idea? Nomads.
Israel.
How you can
Wandering people.
how you can call it Israel as a nomadic? What was the idea? Somebody is telling.
They were wandering, sir. Wandering
wandering community, wandering tribe, wandering people. Yes, rightly pointed out. Nomadic people means they don't have permanent residence. They don't have permanent indwelling
Unsettled.
structures, dwelling places. They roam here and there, wandering tribes, wandering communities. So they travel from one place to another place. So they are called as nomadic communities, nomadic tribes. According to Herodotus, Arabians, that means the people groups, the people who are lived on the Arabian land, they do not have permanent dwelling places, permanent dwelling structures. They were the nomads. Nomads means they roam here and there, always they roam and they just they go here and there. That is the idea here. Some Greek customs were also found in Arabian culture, especially in burial rituals. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, the people used to have some unique way of burial rituals, burial performance, because they have a kind of belief. What they have, after some time, the spirit will come to the same body, the body will resurrect, the body will come to life, and again, the person who died, he will have some more years to live. Such kind of mysterious beliefs they have. Because of the beliefs, they used to bury the dead corpse or dead bodies in a unique way, and so that the body will come to life again after some period of time. Because of this burial rituals, we can see some of the important aspects in the pre-Islamic Arabia. That is they have unique customs and traditions for the future life. Somebody, Alhad Bardhan, I think, Pastor. So that is the idea. And coming to the another important person. First one is Herodotus. The second one is Strabo. Strabo played both roles as a geographer and as a historian. Strabo was considered as a well geographer in the ancient times. Not only that, Strabo was identified or acknowledged as a historian. So Strabo also provided some important information concerning pre-Islamic Arabia. That means the Arab land before the birth of Islam. His writings provided geographical information, trade routes, various tribes of Arabian Peninsula. When we come to the writings of Strabo provided some important information. The information consists with geographical information, how the land was connected to different lands, how people were used to sea routes and also deserts and also mountains, hills, and how the land was connected to different routes, how the people group traveled from one place to another place, how Arab land was influenced with other cultures and traditions. So Strabo, as a geographer, he gave important geographical information so that we can understand that pre-Islamic Arab land was influenced with different culture. One of the important culture which influenced Arab land so much was that Greek culture. How the Greeks came to Arab land, Strabo gave some important information concerning geographical routes and all. Not only that, he provided important information concerning trade and business. Trade and business. Those days, trade is important business. Trade is an important source. Trade is an important thing which people traveled from one place to another place. When they traveled one place to another place, they carried their belief systems, they carried their culture, they carried their important uh, uh, heritage, so that the people when they carried their belief system. Because of business, because of the trade, other lands also were influenced with some other cultures and all these things. So Strabo provided these important aspect. The third person, first person was the Herodotus, the second person was the Strabo, third person who gave important information concerning the pre-Islamic Arabia was that Pliny the Elder. Pliny the Elder. Pliny was the elder. He was a Roman naturalist. He was a Roman naturalist. Not only that, he was a philosopher. He was a philosopher. And many Arab writings mentioned about his name. Not only that, Pliny the Elder, he mentioned about different Arabian groups. He mentioned about different Arabian tribes and groups, so that what kind of tribes were lived in those days, what kind of communities they lived in those days, especially pre-Islamic time. So he gave information about customs. In his encyclopedic work, Natural History, he wrote a work, or his work identified or called as a natural history. In his work, in his writings, he mentioned about various different Arabian tribes, not only that, their customs and their culture. So Herodotus was one important figure, and Strabo one important figure. Pliny the Elder, another, this person is also important figure. So these people provided important information concerning pre-Islamic Arabia. In pre-Islamic Arabia, the status of women was women was deeply entrenched in patriarchal social structure that prevailed across various tribal communities. Now, when we come to the this pre-Islamic Arabia, the status of women was not much given importance, was not much given importance, because there was a patriarchal or male dominated structure was there. Women was not given much importance, so that in pre-Islamic Arabia, women were not given that much importance. So we can understand that in pre-Islamic Arabia itself, women were in the second position. Women were considered as a second beings. That was the main idea here. Women's rights and roles were largely determined by familial ties. Women's rights and roles were largely determined by familial ties. That means, what are the things happened in women's life? What are the situations happened in women's life? All the situations were approved by male society. That means women's rights and roles were largely determined by familial ties. That means family members used to decide what is their future, what will be their future, what roles they should play, what rights they should get. So family institution played an important role. In the family, male domination was the main thing, so that women were put into secondary level. Women's rights and women's roles were depend upon male dominated structure, and male dominated structure decides what women has to supposed to do. That was the condition we can see in pre-Islamic Arabian context. Women were put into secondary grade, secondary being. They do not have a much freedom, and they used to depend upon male people, on male society. Male people used to decide what women should have, what they should not have. So that was the condition in pre-Islamic Arabian context. Men holding primary authority in both domestic and societal affairs. That means both institutions were dominated by men. Men played important role in domestic or in the household system, and also men played important role in society. So in pre-Islamic Arabian context, women do not have any freedom. They were completely under the control of male dominated society. That was the main thing we need to understand here. Legal rights for women were limited. In pre-Islamic Arab context or pre-Islamic Arabia, when we observe the women, the condition of women was very pathetic. So legal rights for women were limited, often rendering them as a property under the guardianship of male relatives, such as father or husband. Women were completely under the control of father, under the control of husband. They do not have any equal position, equal right in the pre-Islamic Arabian context. So in pre-Islamic Arabian context also, we can see that women do not have any freedom. They were under the control of male society, patriarchal society, especially father and husband played an important role to control women's life. In matters of inheritance, women had little autonomy. In matters of inheritance, women had little autonomy with the inheritance laws. Inheritance laws means the persons or the people, usually they get the property from their ancestors. Inheritance means getting or having ancestral property. So in matters of inheritance, ancestral property, women had a little autonomy. That means they had a very little portion, they had a very little opportunity to have inheritance laws and all. Polygamy was common practice. Polygamy means having many wives. In pre-Islamic society, we can see polygamy was common practice. That means woman doesn't have any significant position and status. That means many women are allowed into one family. One person can have many women as his wives. Polygamous. Poly means many, gamos means marriage. Many marriages. One person can have, one male can have many marriages. So he can have many wives so that he can enjoy his life in a fleshly kind of thing, and he can deny any wife in any time. So that polygamy was the common practice. Because of the polygamy, women were exploited in the pre-Islamic context. Not only that, after the birth of Islam, Arabian land was same tradition. Arabian land was influenced by same practice, that was the polygamy. Because of the polygamy, many women were exploited and many men were controlled many women's life, and it was unethical. But still, the practice was continuing in the Muslim community and in Islamic faith as well. Women were frequently married off at young ages, sometimes without their consent, and divorce was relatively easy for men to initiate. That means what? Women were frequently married off at young age. They were not prepared. They were not prepared in emotionally, psychologically, physically, mentally, spiritually. But the elders of the family, they used to take decision. Through that decision, many women got married in their very young age. Because of the young age, their lives were spoiled. They got health issues and many problems young girls were faced, and that way women life was completely exploited, sometimes without their consent. They must obey what the family members have taken decision. They must obey. So because of this cruel practice, women's life were under the danger position. Women's lives were under the threat. So that was the practice in the pre-Islamic Arabia. After that, in Islamic, after the birth of Islam, the same tradition was continued, and divorce was relatively easy for men to initiate. Men can have a divorce at any time. If you pronounce talak 3 times, the word talak, and officially the person was got officially divorced. That means divorce was relatively easy for men to initiate, because the social system was permitting to a male person to have many wives. That means if he doesn't want some ex as his wife, he can take a decision, he can initiate to give a divorce. Divorce process was very easy. So many divorce used to happen. Many women were hopeless condition. Many women were in helpless condition. That's how human life was completely exploited during the time of pre-Arabia context, pre-Islamic Arabian context. Women's roles were primarily centered around domestic duties and child rearing. That means every woman has to play 2 important roles. they should give birth to the child. That is one important thing. Another important aspect is that they should work as a servant in the family. Sometimes women were treated as the animals in the family itself. So that was the condition in the pre-Islamic Arabian society. Women did have some involvement in academic pursuits. After the birth of Islam also, these things were continued. What situation we see in the pre-Islamic Arabian context? The same situation we can see after the birth of Islam also. Women did have some involvement in economic pursuits, particularly in nomadic or semi-nomadic tribes, where survival necessitated necessitated the participation of all members regardless of gender. When we see the women's status in Islamic world and pre-Islamic context, women did have some involvement economic pursuit. That means those days what happened? This people group used to travel from one place to another place. That's what we named them as a nomadic tribes. Nomadic tribe means wandering groups, wandering communities. So people used to travel from one place to another place. So our livelihood, survival for the family is a challenging thing because no much resources are available. All the family members must work together for family survival. In that particular context, what happened? In that context, women used to work. So, women involvement in academic pursuits were happened in those days because of survival of the family. In terms of religion and societal participation, pre-Islamic Arabian society had a rich tradition of poetry and oral storytelling, in which women occasionally played significant role as poets, patrons of poets.
Sir,
Yeah.
you haven't changed this slide, sir.
I changed.
Change, sir, but it's not changing here. It's in still introduction only.
Really?
Yeah,
How it happened actually?
don't know, sir. Don't know.
Are you able to see?
A screen is available, but only introduction, sir. It's still in the introduction.
Any one of you can help me because for me this here my screen is changing. What happened here means are you able to see screen changing?
No, sir. No.
Let me check again.
That's what. Yes, I was wondering.
Okay. Now let's see.
Yeah.
Is it okay now? See. Now introduction.
Yeah, now it is in introduction, sir.
Now historical
Yeah.
context.
Yeah, now it's changing, sir.
Okay, now
Change.
historical context we had a discussion. Thank you, Pastor Ravi, to intervene in this situation. And we discussed about, are you able to see?
Yes, sir. Yes. Now
No.
it's keep changing.
Okay, now in this slide we are discussing, since they were nomadic tribes, and they used to roam here and there. Because of their survival, they used to roam here and there. So, friends, please bear with me. Here power has gone because of the rain. Power has gone because of the rain. So, okay. Okay, we will continue. Let's see how the things will go. Okay. Now coming to pre-Islamic time, women had some involvement in the academic pursuits and all. So in terms of religion and societal participation, a pre-Islamic Arabian society had a rich tradition of poetry and oral storytelling in which women occasionally played significant roles as poets and poets. That means what main idea here was that women basically they are the storytellers and they are the good poets. How we can say that when any baby born or any baby child is there at home, mother used to sing a kind of rhythmic songs. Mother used to sing a kind of rhythmic songs to please her baby, to please her child. So what happened? Child used to hear mother's voice through poetic form, poetic formation of songs and some kind of phrases. That's what we always say, rhythms and some kind of poems. So all the women, when they have mother role, when they had mother role, they used to sing some poetic songs for their babies to please them, to please their child. So what happened? And unofficially or knowingly or unknowingly, every woman played a kind of poet role. Not only that, they used to tell some important stories. Because of the stories, the child used to get some kind of moral lessons, some kind of ethical lessons. So here, the main idea is that women played a role, kind of storytelling, and also women played an important role as a poet. They were often excluded from decision-making process within tribal councils. Women doesn't have any kind of freedom to take any decision. All the decisions were taken by male only. Women do not have any freedom to take decision. The same situation nowadays it is happening also. Practices such as female infanticide, though not universal, were present in some pre-Islamic Arabian tribes. That means what? Killing baby girl, killing baby in infant position was practicing in those days. Female infanticide. That what? Because of female infanticide, many baby girl child lives were exploited, lives were ended. So female infanticide was a cruel practice during the time of pre-Islamic Arabian context. So women were exploited, such a way. Is it okay? Slide is changing. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, the advent of Islam, that means the arrival of Islam, the birth of Islam, and its impact on women's rights and roles. When Islam was born during the 6th century, what happened to women's life? That discussion we are going
Slide need to be in
to
the
this section.
slide.
Sorry,
Slide is in the
sorry.
in the middle. It's the middle side. It is inside.
Your voice is breaking, Ravi. First Ravi.
Sir, slide is not in middle. It is side by sir, side by. Not appearing full letters.
What here? In my screen, it is okay. Actually, your screen is not visible.
Minimize, sir. It is no,
Huh?
no, no, sir. The screen is visible, and screen is not in the middle, sir. It is yeah. Sir. Adjust it, sir. Just
Now is it okay?
not, sir. Not okay.
Oh, how can we change? Oh, yeah. Actually, technically, I am not much known these things. Yeah, nobody
Yeah.
is there to help me also.
No problem. No
But-
problem,
but
sir.
it's
So you are
okay, sir.
uploading in
No problem.
classroom.
Huh?
You are uploading in
Once-
classroom, sir. No problem. Continue, sir.
Yeah, actually, what happened? No, this. Okay, 1 minute. Oh, here full screen is there. And
It's okay, sir. We can see properly. No problem.
okay. Then, actually, what
I
happened?
think
No, this,
brother-
Now it's okay, sir. Now it's done.
huh?
No, I think the brother's network problem maybe. For us, we can see properly. I
Okay,
don't know.
you can see properly.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay,
now also, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now I can see, sir. Before
Okay,
it
okay,
was
sure,
not like
sure.
that.
And
Now it's okay.
actually, in fact, technically, I am not knowing much things and all. Now nobody is there help to. Okay, thank you for your intervention. So the advent of Islam and its impact on women's rights and roles after the birth of Islam, what happened to women's life? The earliest female figures within Islam are those associated with Muhammad, including his wives, daughters, and female companions. The women got very important position in Islam because Muhammad had many wives. Since Muhammad had many wives, Muhammad was considered as a prophet of Allah, true God. Muhammad's family members, those who are connected to women, those who are connected, the women who are connected to Muhammad's family, they were highly respected, they were highly revered. So what happened? Muhammad family had a high reverence position. Muhammad's family had a high reverence position because Muhammad had many wives. So the women who were connected to Muhammad's family, they had a very high respect. That means basically Islam is giving respect to women. That is the idea. Muhammad's wives are prominently featured in the Quran and Hadith. Quran means the revelation which Muhammad got through angel Gabriel. That was the main history when we see in Islamic religion. Not only that, some of the interpretive commentaries happened by using the Quran called Hadith. So, Hadith and Quran are considered very important scriptures for every Muslim. In Islam, Quran and Hadith, very important. Quran is a direct revelation from Allah through angel Gabriel to Muhammad. That is the one aspect. Hadith is Muhammad's interpretative commentary on Quranic verses. So, two important scriptures Islam has, Quran and Hadith, where women serving as a key transmitter of his teachings and experiences. So, here Muhammad's wives are prominently featured. When we see Quran, Muhammad's family was very much given much importance. Hadith also giving much importance to Muhammad's family. They are cited, that means the women in the Muhammad's family, they are cited in the Quran as models of modesty and piety, setting as standards for behavior and societal expectations for Muslim women. In the Hadith, and Quran, Muhammad's family members, those who are women as wives and daughters, they were role models for every Muslim woman. That was the main message we can see in Quran and Hadith. That means basically Islam is giving much importance to women. Much importance to women. Particularly figures like Fatima, Muhammad's daughter, and Mary, Jesus' mother. These two women were revered as the very, very high position, Fatima and Mary. Fatima's lineage is central to Shia theology. Friends, you know, two important groups we can see in the Islamic world. In Muslim community, two important groups are there. One is Sunni Muslims, the another one is Shia Muslims. Shia Muslims, they always considered Muhammad's blood relation as their Khalifa. Sunni Muslims always considered who, after Muhammad, who carried the vision or mission of Muhammad, they are their Khalifa. So, Shia and Sunni, we can see. Fatima's lineage is central to Shia theology, while Mary is honored as a symbol of virtue and devotion in Islamic tradition. Friends, you know, Jesus' mother, Mary, has very high position in Islamic writings. Jesus also had a very high position. Every Muslim give high respect to Jesus. Jesus is a holy prophet, they believe, but they don't believe Jesus is Son of God and Jesus is Savior. Jesus died for our sins and all. So that is different. Now, Fatima, Mary, as a woman, they had high respect. In Islamic society, women played crucial role as nurturers and educators within the family unit. Basically, in Islamic society, women played a crucial role as nurturers. That means women take care each and every family member. That is the main thing. Every family member were nurtured by, took care by women. So women played an important role. Not only that, women were the first teachers in the family. First teachers. Everything what we learned in our childhood through our mothers, through our elders, mainly women elders, mothers, so that women played an important role in Muslim community. Women have actively participated in the transmission of Islamic knowledge. Everyone must understand, everyone must agree and obey to this statement. Women have actively participated in the transmission of Islamic knowledge. That means Islam or the religion of Islam basically a religion which gives much importance reference to women. Moreover, women have been actively engaged in Islamic rituals. So, women's role was there in Islam, and also in Islam, women were highly venerated, highly respected. For example, what are the rituals? Islamic rituals. For example, 5 pillars of Islam. Profession of faith, Shahada. That means there is no God but Allah. Prophet Muhammad is Prophet of Allah, and there is no other prophet. That is the faith. Faith statement usually we hear through Islamic tradition. So, Shahada, profession of faith, and again Salat. That means 5 prayers before sunset to sundown to sunrise to after sunset. 5 times prayer is there. That is called Salat. And alms giving, donation and giving to others, helping to others. Jakat, that is called, alms are called jakat, swam are called fasting, Hajj all known as pilgrimage. So all these traditions or rituals are called as a 5 pillars. In 5 pillars, women are actively participating. Women are actively participating. That means in Islamic tradition, women have very important role. Also, in Islamic tradition, they used to give much respect to the women. Analysis of prominent women figures in early Islamic history. In early Islamic history, in ancient Islamic history, we can see some of the women played an important role. We are going to see those women. In early Islamic history, several prominent women figures played significant roles in shaping the development of Islamic civilization and contributing to various aspects. Who are they? First woman, Khadija bint Khuwaylid. Khadija bint Khuwaylid. Khadija was the first wife of the Prophet Muhammad and a successful businesswoman in her own right. When we see Islamic history, Prophet Muhammad married her owner, that means Khadija. Khadija was a businesswoman. Prophet Muhammad worked under her. Because of Prophet Muhammad loyalty and his character, Khadija fell in love with him. Then after that, they married. Actually, Khadija was elder to him. So here, Khadija was the first wife of the Prophet Muhammad and a successful businesswoman in her own right. So, because of Khadija had a position of wife of Prophet Muhammad, so every Muslim, they used to give respect to Khadija. She supported and comforted the Prophet during the early years of his prophethood and played a crucial role in spreading the message of Islam. That means the first wife of Prophet Muhammad played an important role. She was woman. That means in Islamic history, women had very important, women played an important role. Women had very rich heritage. Khadija's unwavering faith, wisdom, and generosity earned her a special place in Islamic history as the mother of the believers. As we always say, Sarah is mother of the all believers. In Islamic tradition, they consider Khadija as the mother of all Muslim community or Muslim people. That means since she was a mother of Prophet, so she had high respect. Her name was highly venerated, highly elevated, and highly exalted. Not only that, Khadija also played an important role in Islamic tradition. The second one is Ayesha bint Abu Bakr. Ayesha bint Abu Bakr, second important woman. Ayesha, the daughter of Abu Bakr, one of the Prophet's closest companions and the first Caliph of Islam, was renowned for her scholarly achievements and contributions to Islamic jurisprudence. After death of Muhammad, Abu Bakr played an important role. He carried the vision and mission of Islam. So Abu Bakr was the close companion of Prophet Muhammad. Muhammad not appointed Abu Bakr as his successor, but after Muhammad's death, people, followers of Muhammad, followers of Islam, they unanimously declared Abu Bakr as their Khalifa. Khalifa means their leader. So Ayesha, the daughter of Abu Bakr, got very important position in Islamic tradition because of her scholarly achievements and contribution to Islamic jurisprudence. That means she contributed much to Islamic rules and regulations, and also she played an important role. She transmitted thousands of hadiths. Hadiths means sayings and actions of the Prophet Muhammad, and played a pivotal role in educating the early Muslim community. That means she did a wonderful job. So Ayesha also got good position. She contributed. That means Islamic tradition was developed, established, and propagated by women. Khadija, first woman. Ayesha, second woman. Third one is Fatima bint Muhammad. Fatima was the youngest daughter of the Prophet Muhammad and his wife Khadija. So Fatima was the youngest daughter of the Prophet Muhammad. So Khadija and Fatima, they played important role since they are connected to Prophet Muhammad family. They were highly respected. Also, they contributed something to Islamic society. She is revered. That means Fatima is revered as a symbol of piety, humility, and devotion to God. Every Muslim see Fatima as a symbol of piety, that means purified life, symbol of humility, that means submission life, symbol of devotion, that means spiritual life. So that was the contribution from Fatima side. Then coming to the fourth one, Salama. Salama was the another prominent female companion of the Prophet. So she was the female follower of the Prophet. So she had a very good name and high respect in the Muslim world. Muhammad, known for her wisdom, courage, and compassion. Salama had compassion quality. Salama had wisdom. Salama had courage. So Muhammad, known for her wisdom, courage, and compassion, she displayed these qualities during the time of Muhammad. Muhammad himself gave much respect to Salama. She played a crucial role in mediating conflicts within the Muslim community and offering counsel to the Prophet. That means she played a role of judge. She played a role of judge. See, friends, in Islamic history, in Islamic establishment, in Islamic tradition, we can see women played an important role. In fact, Islamic tradition basically gives much importance to women, but some areas, the people, the scholars, and after the Muhammad, after the Abu Bakr, other people took the leadership and they gave importance to male. Such a way in Islam, in Islamic tradition, women lost the important and key position. So Salam also contributed. She played as a judge. She used to give counseling. She used to mediate or to reduce the conflicts. Such a way she did a wonderful job. And the fifth one, Zainab bint Ali. Zainab bint Ali. Zainab, the grand daughter of the Prophet Muhammad and the daughter of Ali ibn Abi Talib, or the cousin and son-in-law of the Prophet, demonstrated remarkable courage and resilience in the face of adversity. So, in the Shia's line, Ali was the nephew of Prophet Muhammad and her family member Zainab. So she did wonderful job. So these women are very, very prominent women, highly respected women in the Islamic world. Friends, we have a very few minutes. In these few minutes, we are going to discuss few things and we will wind up our class today. This is the last but one class. That means only one more class we have, then we will wind up this subject. Then another important area we are going to see within few minutes is that women in Islam, major issues. Non-Muslim scholars often argue that Islam perpetuates the oppression of women, citing the Quran and Hadith as the sources. Many Muslim scholars were telling that Hadith and Quran, important scriptures, were giving a scope, giving a space to put women into other direction. Or many people are using Quran and Hadith to put women into sideline position. Islamic scholars assert that Islam inherently grants equal status to both genders from its inception. Many Islamic scholars saying that the religion of Islam giving equal status to women with men and all. Feminist Islamic scholars such as Leela Ahmad and Fatima Mernissi strongly argue that Quran is responsible for such oppression. Many Islamic scholars, feminist scholars are coming up. They're telling that because of Quranic writings, now women were oppressed in Islamic community. That means Quran or the scripture is the main responsible. Ahmad's work, Women and Gender in Islam, one of the theologian and very, very important person in the Muslim world. Ahmad's work, Women and Gender in Islam, explores the complexities of gender roles within Islamic societies. Ahmad wrote Women and Gender in Islam. So he brought out many difficult and many things into bright light, into brought out many things into picture. So he did what are the situations happening in Islamic societies. And another person, Mernis's book, The Veil and the Male Elite, a feminist interpretation of women's rights in Islam. And he wrote one book. In this book, he challenged traditional interpretations of Islamic texts. In this book, Mernisi was telling that in Quran, in Islamic writings, they were wrongly interpreted Quranic writings, and they were giving wrong interpretation, and they were giving much importance to male. They are not giving much importance to women. Such a things he brought out. Some Islamic scholars like Jamal Badwi argue that normative practices in the Muslim world elevate women to a higher and more noble role compared to non-Muslim societies. Some Jamal Badwi, a Islamic scholar, was telling, in Islamic tradition, women got good position, high position, comparatively other religions. That's what he was defending Islamic faith. The Quranic references serve as a foundational basis for understanding women's right in Islam. Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verses 7 to 11, we can see that underscores the rights of women to inheritance. When we see Surah 4 and verses between 7 and 11, we can see how women are having, or women should have inheritance rights. So those descriptions we can see over there. Surah Ar-Rum, chapter 30, 21 emphasizes mutual love and compassion between spouses. That means when men married with women, women married with men, when individuals come as a family in Islamic tradition, in Quran itself, giving a kind of instruction that male and female, women and men, they should have mutual love. That means both should share their love with one another, and also they should share compassion. That means women and men are equal in the Quran. Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 34, emphasizes mutual consultation and agreement between spouses. That means man should talk with women should talk with men. That means husband should talk with wife should talk with husband. Both should come together, discuss, and take decision. That's what Quran is giving instructions to family, especially men and women. Here, both status were same. Both were treated in same measures. Surah Al-Baqarah 2 and 187 underscores mutual rights and responsibilities within marriage. Husband's responsibilities, wife responsibilities must be equal. They should support one another. They should share the responsibilities in equal manner. So that is the instruction we can see Surah Al-Baqarah chapter 2 verse 187. The topic of polygamy within Islam further highlights diverse perspectives within the faith. Now, coming to the permission of many marriages, that means the idea, the topic of polygamy, bringing some kind of contradictory, controversial, and contradiction positions within the Islamic faith. Maududi, very well known theologian, Islamic scholar, thinker. Maududi advocate for polygamy as a legitimate option within Islamic law. He was telling that marrying many women is not a wrong thing. It is a good thing because many women are getting life. Many women's life are uplifted. Many women's life were secured. So polygamy is a very, very good thing. That's how he is advocating or supporting Islamic practice of polygamy. But polygamy was unethical in one sense. Friends, within 5 minutes, we are going to wind up. Please bear with me. And time is 9:10. We will wind up in 9:15, 5 minutes. So, after discussing women's status in Islam, there are important views we can see. Our classical view is one dimension, critical view is another dimension. Classical view, women are honored in Islam. Men and women are considered to be equal but different. Biologically, they're different, but men and women are equal. So, this is the classical view. What is the critical view? Islam sanctions oppression and degradation of women, permitting wife beating and reducing legal status of women. So, critical view is that polygamy, because of polygamy, women's status was reduced. Women's status is reducing, and again permitting wife beating. So this is unethical. So Islam sanctions oppression and degradation of women. So this is the critical view. Coming to the classical view, Quran, Surah 4, 34, 35, where we can see husband as head of the home. That means male dominated aspect is there. Quran, Surah 4, 34 to 35, we see justifies even fatal wife beating. Since husband as the head of home, he can do whatever he wants. He can control, he can beat, he can oppress. So that kind of idea is coming. This is the critical view. Quran, Surah 2, 223 affirms that sexual intercourse is a marital right. Here, after marriage, intimacy relationship is the marital right. So that is there in the Quran. Coming to that is the classical view. Coming to the critical view, the same verse, Quran, Surah 2, 223, justifies forced sex. That means many Muslims, they are getting wives in very young age. That means young girls were married to men. Men's age is double than young girl. In the young age, girls were getting into the marriage institution. So girls were scared. Girls were sometimes they were in confusion. They were not ready. Their body, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, they were not ready to marry. But elders were forcing them to marry. Then what happened? The male, the person was very elder, and sometimes his actions, his behavior, his treatment towards her wife, who is in very young age, considered as a rape. Rape means forced sex. That is the critical view. Another view, classical view. Quran, Surah 33, 59, and Surah 24, 32, 31 helps to prevent men seeing women as sex object. Covering the burqa veil, the covering gown and all, where Quran 33, 59, 24, 32, 31, there we can see people are seeing women as a sex object. Women as a sex object. So by wearing gown, wearing veil, so women were protected from the wrong vision from the men, wrong view from the men. That is the classical view. Then what is the critical view? The same verses, Quran, Surah 33, 59, and Surah 24, 32, 31 represents a cover-up. That means covering thing is there, but in effect, disrespect to women's life. Disrespect women's life. Somewhere or the other, they were women were disrespected by this custom. These are the important things we can see in our discussion. Classical view is there, supporting scriptures and supporting Islamic faith. Critical view is there. They are questioning the Islamic faith, tradition, culture, and all these things. Friends, today we have a fifth chapter in a brief discussion, Women in Islam. We discussed some of the important aspects and we come to the conclusion. Then we will wind up fifth chapter. Only one more chapter is there. If God willing, the next chapter, next class will be our last class. Then we will go further. So conclusion. Islam stands for diplomatic, tactful position concerning women issues. When we think about women, when we think about women life in Islamic society, Islam is playing tactful. It's like a kind of diplomatic, tactful position concerning women issues. Patriarchal or male-dominated structure, centered belief systems, very much prevalent in Islamic faith. Whatever Islamic history, tradition, culture, scripture says, still till today we can see male domination in the Islamic culture and faith. Few instances are supporting the women role and participation in Islamic faith. Very, very few instances we can see where women are getting importance and reverence. Permitting to wife beating. Polygamy means marrying many women. Biased inheritance rights to women are some examples for women exploitation in Islamic faith and in Muslim community. Wife beating is permitting in the Muslim community. That is unethical. Marrying many women, unethical. Biased ancestral property laws are unethical. So such a way women lives were exploited in Islamic faith and in Muslim community. Due to feminism and women Islamic scholars, the things have been shifting from negative to positive. Now we can see here and there some of positive initiations are happening in Muslim society because of the feminism and women Islamic scholars. So with these words, with this brief discussion, we are going to complete our fifth chapter, that is women in Islam. We are discussing now section B, women position in Abrahamic faith. We discussed these. We discussed with these things. So